China's northern neighbour, Mongolia, has closed its border with the country to cars and pedestrians in a bid to contain the coronavirus. More than 80 people have died since the outbreak started, and there are estimates that nearly 6,000 people have been infected. Around half of those, we believe, have recovered. Let's get the latest live with our correspondent Robin Brandt, who joins me now from Shanghai. Robin, welcome to you. We just got this news a short time ago about Mongolia closing its border with China. What more do we know?
Yes, so what we're seeing is foreign governments doing two things. Those that neighbour China, certainly to the north, are seeking to stop completely any travel between the countries, and so we're seeing the Mongolian government closing its border. That is a vast border that runs all the way from the West Xinjiang all the way over to the east, far north of Beijing. North Korea, which also borders China in that part of the world, it shut its border several days ago. Other governments are trying to extract some of their people who are living and working in Wuhan. In the last hour or so, the Spanish government has said it will do what it can to try and get 20 or so people, Spanish nationals who are in place there, out. The British government has a similar effort in place. The Americans as well have slightly more advanced plans to remove 200 to 300 people as well. So that's what kind of foreign governments are doing to try to prevent the spread or try to remove their people from Wuhan, which is the epicentre of this outbreak.
And what are the latest figures as far as we understand them from the authorities?
So as of today, I'll just look down at my notebook here, 80 people have died of coronavirus in mainland China, 2,744 confirmed cases, just over 5,500 suspected, and 30,400 or so are being monitored. So that's where the numbers are. The death toll continues to increase, and we had reports in Hainan, which is an island province right down in the south of China today. The latest victim there was an 80-year-old woman. So that shows you the spread of the virus almost completely nationwide.
Robin, as this crisis deepens, there seems to be increasing speculation about how open and honest the Chinese authorities really are being, with a number of people in and outside of China saying, look, we think the real numbers are much higher. What's your sense of how accurate they probably really are?
Well, there is a fog of war, so to speak, on this. There's no doubt when you look at some of the reporting and speak to people here for the SARS outbreak back in 2002, so that's nearly 18 years ago, that it is very different to that. Details of this outbreak emerged in public pretty quickly after the Chinese government at a national level was told about them. I think the issue may have been, what did officials in Wuhan on a provincial and citywide level know, and when did they know it? Because the big concern now, even though the Chinese government is throwing its vast logistical weight behind the medical effort, the supply effort, is that frankly it may just be too late, because in the earlier weeks when officials in Wuhan, around Hubei province, may have known of the beginnings of this outbreak, it may not have been dealt with as seriously, it may not have been conveyed as seriously to national government at that stage.
OK, Robin Brandt in Shanghai, thank you for the update. Well, Stephen McDonnell is in Henan province, where the authorities are trying to contain the coronavirus, and brought us the latest.
So this is a train station in Henan where, as you can see, they've got protective clothing on. All those people who went home to see their families for the Lunar New Year break, well, they're now returning to the big cities, hundreds of millions of them. Now in Hubei province, where it broke out, of course, they won't be coming back so easily, but everywhere else, like in this province, Henan, there are people who've been sick with the virus. They all have to go back. Coming into train stations, people are wearing face masks, using hand sanitizer and the like. Clearly, the officials here are being very precautious. They're checking people's temperature when they come in. So here's a family about to come in, give them their tickets and be checked on the way into the station. When people arrive back in cities like Beijing, though, life won't automatically go back to normal. For example, schools, they're delaying classes. That's kindergarten, schools and universities, all imposing a bit of a sort of safety period while they decide whether or not they can resume classes again. And officials here in China have even extended the Lunar New Year holiday to give them a bit more breathing space to deal with this crisis.
Stephen McDonnell at a train station in Henan province there.